I'm going to be going over the temporary supply shocks. Now, for the first supply shock, it's going to be a positive supply shock. And with the positive supply shock, the short-run aggregate supply curve will shift to the right. Now, before we do that, we're going to label what is showing right now. So right now, the economy is in equilibrium. This black dot where all three curves are intersecting is our equilibrium point. So we'll label that E1. Now, where this hits the x-axis, that is our potential output, because that is where our long run aggregate supply curve hits the x-axis. And the y-axis, where P is labeled, that is our equilibrium price, so we are going to label that PE. Now with the positive supply shock, our short run aggregate supply curve will shift to the right, and we'll demonstrate that here. So we'll label that short run aggregate supply 2. Now this is going to move our equilibrium down over here at E2. This is going to increase our output to Y2, but it's also going to decrease our price at P2. So right now the economy is in short run equilibrium because it is still intersecting with the aggregate demand curve. In short run, the output is increased, but the price is decreased. Now, in the long run, the short run supply curve, the long run supply curve, and aggregate demand have to be intersecting, because that means the economy is in long run equilibrium. Now with the supply shock, the short run aggregate supply curve will actually shift back to its original position. So this original short run supply curve will actually become our third curve. So we'll label that SRAS2. It's going to go back, our equilibrium is going to go back to E1. Our output is going to be decreased back to Y star, and our price is going to be increased back to equilibrium price. In the end, our equilibrium is at the original position, just as our potential output at Y star and our equilibrium price at PE. And that is a positive supply shock. Now, for a demand supply shock, the short run aggregate supply curve will shift to the left. And so still right now, the economy is in equilibrium. We'll label this E1, our potential output Y star, and our equilibrium price at PE. So this supply curve in the short run is going to be shifted to the left because it's a negative supply shock. So we'll label this short run aggregate supply curve 2. That's going to change our equilibrium up here because it is still intersecting the aggregate demand, and we'll label that E2. That is going to decrease our output at Y2, but it's going to increase our price at P2. So right now, the economy is in short run equilibrium where our output is decreased, but our price is increased. And to get back to long run, our short run curve is going to go back into its original position to intersect with the long run aggregate supply curve and the aggregate demand. So this supply curve is going to be our third curve. It's going to go back to equilibrium, right, point at number 1. Our output is going to go back, increase back to our potential output, and our P2 is going to be decreased back to our equilibrium price. So in the end, our short run So in the end, temporary supply shocks shift the equilibrium one way, but then in the long run, it'll shift back to its original position, leaving the equilibrium at the same place in the long run as Y star, where that is our potential output, and PE, our equilibrium price.